Welcome back to the North American LCS. In Game 1, we saw Cloud9 take a win off the defending champions, Counter Logic Gaming, and despite the success, C9 is going to be changing it up for Game 2 with Smoothie, subbing in for Bunny Fufu at support.
Yeah, that's actually surprising.
Very
considering
surprising.
how well Bunny did. It makes me think, oh, maybe this was predetermined coming here, or they really just want to get, some experience on both of these guys, and they want to continue with the strategy of, subbing out bot lane for the entire season, no matter who's playing well at the time.
Well, they kept saying it's an interchangeable role for us. It's not one or the other. So if as this goes through, this will prove that even more.
Yeah, I want to see if, they make some changes in Champ Select. There's some special champions or something we're working at. Regardless, we'll have those questions answered soon. As of right now, though, the Cloud9 bottom lane, we'll talk about the whole thing from last game because Sneaky's still in. He was a part of it as well on that Ashe. Didn't die a single time. Arrows were on point following up with Bunny Fufu. So both those guys made a really big impact on that game and were pretty much the main reason why Cloud9 were able to snowball early and then execute through in the mid game.
Right. And before we move to CLG, we can't forget about Jensen.
Yeah.
In the mid lane, obviously, again, on his Azir, so controlling when the time came for a need be of a team member to control the entire thing.
Yeah, he had a CS lead in the 1v1. He also had turret damage advantage, so they were able to take mid turret pretty soon as the rest of the team was able to group up and apply that pressure. So Jensen, if you're focusing too much on the bottom lane, you gotta watch out because he might take over the game as well. As for CLG, on their side, they are gonna have to clean up some of those mechanical mistakes that we were seeing that allowed that lead in the bottom lane.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, though, they had a really good performance from Darshan, I think, in the early stages from top side. So maybe CLG look to go more on that top side, play around Darshan a little bit.
It seems like what they do every time they're kind of like, oh, we're in a hard spot. Maybe Darshan can go back onto something that'll put more on his shoulders to be able to carry the game on something like an Echo or maybe that, I can't even remember what I played yesterday. Jax, thank you. Never be able to remember it. Or even a Vladimir in that position. We'd think, in the past, that would kind of be Zion, the carry, the split pusher, the controller, kind of the guy you'd be like, well, I actually don't want to be the one to go up and 1v1 him. But it hasn't been that way lately in the picks.
Definitely true. Or, maybe they just double down again. Stick say there are some things that he can clean up. We know that he can dodge more things than that. He was getting hit by a lot. So we'll see if they actually have a more threatening AD carry this time around. Didn't really get a chance to do much on Lucian last time. He kept getting hooked and arrowed and CC'd most of the game.
One thing I did like to see in that bot lane, obviously they kept going down on both sides, more so on CLG, was that they actually kept going at the fights, realizing that if one of those went in their favor, the Braum Lucian would have taken that back over very, very quickly. Had they killed Sneaky right away and not taken a few of those lanterns that saved him, then CLG could have had just as easy as a bot lane right off the bat with that start, especially on Krugs. And that was something also defied by Cloud9 is, they did Krugs, we might need to back off. So a lot of knowledge between these duos here on the bot. Like we said, switching it up on side for our Cloud9 side as Smoothie is coming in. So it's going to be interesting to see where that momentum goes for C9. Before we jump into Game 2, let's welcome Smoothie into the series by checking out a clip of him discussing his own growth.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've played in the LCS stage, but it kind of feels pretty comfortable for me because in the past, I didn't really know what I was getting into, honestly. Like when I was on TL, for example, I went in kind of blind and didn't really have a direction. I just kind of mechanically outplay people, but that didn't work out for me very well. But now I feel like I have a way better grasp of how to play the game and how to win the game. So it's a lot more comfortable for me and doesn't really put too much pressure playing on stage anymore.
Well, that's good. Don't want to come in here with nerves, especially now he's got big shoes to fill after that first game. Plus, it always is very calming going into the next game when you start out the series with a win. So they have one that, they could drop and still be able to take the series.
It's almost like a backwards learning process. They play so many hours, you understand the play. It's just when somebody kind of puts a name to it and a little bit more strategy to it, it refines your play, and you're like, oh, I've been doing this for a long time. This one small change just made it even better. And that's kind of what, as a new player, you can find out for yourself on a stage and try not to have all the stage jitters. As we were saying, Bunny Fufu didn't show those jitters as the team was behind him last time. We'll see if they put that same confidence in Smoothie now. As we head into Game 2 of the series, we're into picks and bans, and Vlad will find himself on that ban list first.
All right, so right off the bat, one of the options you who he's not going to be able to get that Vladimir. It's one of the champions that, you know, he is really taken to after the changes. And definitely a good ban there from Cloud9. Good answer here as well, Rise. Very, very high percentage presence on the pick ban phase.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah, might need another tap to the balance there. I really wonder too, you know, what type of game CLG want to play now. Do they want a lane swap after, you know, they may have a lack of confidence after going over and over and again, electing to start off those 2v2 skirmishes with the Cloud9 bottom lane? Or do they say, hey, Bunny's not in anymore, you know, we feel more confident against sneaky smoothie lane, and we'll return to standard lane setup? Because CLG, as we always mention, they are very good at lane swaps, and they find a way, you know, get an extra couple seconds or some sort of lead in the lane swaps, usually for Darshan, which opens up some kind of split push game.
It was their dance previously, being able to move around the map better, gain a few seconds, get a few picks in that movement, or at least deter somebody from getting the lane faster. That's all CLG needed to grab an early lead. We were talking a little bit about how Cloud9 has that gold lead at 15. So CLG can start to buck back and get one of their own. Varus gets pulled out as well by Cloud9, actually. Yesterday against Phoenix 1, they kind of got impatient against Phoenix poke comp, and as a reason they lost that series. They got a little ahead of themselves, didn't say, hey, let's stay back, and just got themselves poked out.
Interesting there. The Varus ban does mean CLG are gonna, like, you know what? You're banning out our Varus counter. We're gonna ban out, or you're banning out our Azir counter.
Right.
So we're gonna ban out Azir instead. No more Azir for Jensen. Interesting adaptations here. CLG don't want to get beat in the same way. They definitely haven't forgot about Jensen in the mid lane. As we talked about, you know, you might focus too much on the bottom lane from last game.
Bard continuing to get a lot of love as well on the support picks. What are they going to go with here? Nidalee still left up. We've seen some pretty great play coming from Xmithy across the spring on that Nidalee.
Yeah, a lot of teams.
Sivir has also been a pretty big pickup.
A lot of teams still pretty split on the Nidalee here. Obviously, Cloud9 are showing that they have a very clear tier list. Rek'Sai for them above the Nidalee.
Yeah.
They don't really feel like Poke is that strong anymore. And so they just go with that Kindred ban and then steal away. First pick Rek'Sai. It's definitely a Meteos champion as well. You know, he's going to go that full defense. He is going to go with early Sightstone. He's going to try and control the vision. She also has the Tremor Sense, so it makes that very easy for him.
See Jensen chatting it out with the team. Reaper just behind him as they pick 3 and 4.
Yeah, if
Or
I was
4 and
them,
5.
if I was them, I'd be looking for some counter engage right now, because anytime you're facing Sivir, counter engage like Zyra, like Alawi, these champions that really excel when the other team is running towards you, can help out. The thing is, though, that, you know, experienced teams with Sivir just won't run straight at you, obviously, and they're going to use that speed to dodge a lot of those counter engages. So it makes it a little bit tricky, and you do want some reliable CC in that situation.
Waterworld pickup. You got Fizz and Nami coming in here. So you do have the tidal wave, a bit of the disengage you were looking for there, but it's not a true, I guess it's a true disengage. It can get, as you said,
It's hard to use.
run around
Yeah.
as well if you have that Sivir ultimate. You're not just going to run right at them.
Sivir speed definitely helps out there. Some
Yeah.
people, you can run around Nami ultimate even without it, and that will make it that much easier. Fizz, though, that's definitely one of the ones CLG were caught off guard by previously coming into this patch, but they're very well aware now, as they've stated in interviews. And obviously, you don't feel bad going into any melee matchup as Trundle. I think that Darshan will be just fine up there.
Yep. He knows how to play that one out. Stixxay always hovering his faithful old Warwick, at least once a game. Just for that nostalgia.
This is his favorite champion. People always wonder,
got it.
why do they always do that? It's just particular to him. Personal preference.
It's going to be the Xmithy Gragas this time. It is, and we're going to get Soraka coming out of Afromu this time. So they're actually going to be looking to keep those heals up. Maybe shut down some of these fights with some silence.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite synergies is Trundle increased healing plus Soraka at his back. Trundle's already incredibly annoying to take down. on the front line. If they're able to protect Soraka and allow her to just heal him up, Darshan will be very difficult to take down. Meanwhile, Smithy's gonna take his hand at the Gragas. He's had a couple of highlight plays where the barrels come out in odd directions, but
I don't know what you're talking about.
in general, he's a strong Gragas player, and he is one of those tank jungle players as well. Feels very at home on it. This time around, though, it will be the opposite matchup, so
Yeah.
he'll have to deal with the Rek'Sai speed clears and ults back out onto the field.
We'll see what he goes as well, because we saw Meteos going the Runic on that when he played Gragas instead of the Cinderhawk. So
Yeah, most people,
if he goes tank or not.
you know, generally favoring it. Also, whenever you have a Soraka, I really like to see Spirit Visage on everyone on your front line. It's already pretty good on Gragas. You know, he's got his own heals, and cooldown direction's always great, but with a Soraka on your team, it's feels good, man.
It's like, you don't have one? Go buy one right now. I'll buy one too. So Victor gets picked up for Jensen. Had that in the Phoenix 1 game. He was playing pretty insane on that, so he'll be back onto that comfort champion. Sneaky will get Caitlyn, so it makes the bot lane quite easy for them, or at least safe, I should say. Nothing's ever easy against Logic Gaming.
Yeah, so definitely another lane where Sneaky and Smoothie, they can go offensive. You know, and if CLG bottom lane tries to make something happen with a gank, you know, it does have a lot of CC. It's just hard to land the bubbles into traps, or the trap into bubble from the Caitlyn Nami, but it really probably will require some more aggressive moves from 6A Afromu, which it looks like they probably won't do. They're just going to focus on wave control with Soraka, Sivir. You know, that's a combo that likes to shove you under your turret and keep you there, try and make you miss CS. But again, that Victor last pickup for Cloud9, very common on the blue side because it's an easy blind pick for the mid laner.
Right.
Really hard to counter that one. And Huhi just goes for a team play here. Teleport from the mid lane for him on the Lissandra, wants to make those plays for the team. They have speed boost on Sivir to help out as well with the flanks. If you don't get your perfect flank, try and help you reposition.
It was early game for Cloud9 last time. It looks like this one's going to go to mid game before we get too much action. That's all depending on really what the junglers decide to do. They've swapped it up on that side from Rek'Sai and Kragus. And we have a new support in for Smoothie, subbing back in for Bunny Fufu on Cloud9. So switching things up here as we come into game 2 of the series. Keep those predictions up to date by tweeting with hashtag C9win or hashtag CLGwin. We'll keep checking those and tally them up as we get into game. Cloud9 has yet to not play all 3 games in a best of 3. Can they break that trend today? They have so far played all 3 games in each series they've been in. And hopefully to close this one out in 2 here as they go against CLG. Now recomped, revamped, and back on the Rift. We're about to get into game number 2. It is Counter Logic Gaming versus Cloud9. And let's see what these teams have for each other.
Yeah, let's take a look. I'm very excited actually to see Huhi on this Lissandra. It's definitely a champion that has a good kit for his playstyle. He likes to get right into the middle of the team fights.
Yes.
Set people up on his team for success. Lissandra's great. You know, I expect the majority of ults from Huhi to be self-ults. Unless it is like, oh, we caught somebody out with Sivir speed boost, you know, or Gragas ultimate, knock someone back. But generally, I like to see him get in the middle there, create some chaos, self-ult, buy some time for this Sivir to get out her AoE.
Just a little walk. Be like, look at my talisman. Look at my machete.
Sick. Everybody's
Sick indeed.
playing follow the leader. Nobody gets to touch. Just look.
Safe.
By the way, that, you know, Grog, people are like, oh no, Gragas had to start body slam to try and get that. Nah, he starts body slam anyway in the jungle. That little bit of health saved by knocking up the creeps. And they took out the split damage from Gragas body slam quite a while ago. No drop off for hitting multiple creeps. Pretty standard lanes here. All right, it looks like we're gonna have an attempt at an interrupt on the Gromp rather than both teams taking it. So we'll see, maybe a small health advantage. Oh, they cancel that. It will be everyone going into lane, just taking their jungle camps. See how efficiently they can pull it off. I think he tanks the damage. Smoothie's gonna heal him. Yep, there it is. And trade it off. Plus then they have, they do that because, you know, AD carry can heal up a little bit with those extra couple autos.
Yep.
Due to the Doran blade start.
And then different for Select.
Exactly. Melee is 1-2 drop, okay. So pretty close, and they end up pretty even here. This is going to be a very minion-focused bottom lane, since both of them have supports with heals, and they're going to be sustaining. Actually, constant autos, Smoothie and Afro. Nobody backing down.
Those are some stale bananas or something. That's some damage there. Darshan getting pushed back by Impact on that early level 2 as well. So we are getting the aggression in each lane still. And they're trying to stand toe-to-toe. Pushed up by Huhi already, as we expect in the mid lane, as he just keeps queuing in the minion waves. And Stixay on mana just pushes himself up to try and get some autos in.
Yeah.
As he leaves Afro to throw out the start call.
That mid lane you mentioned is something I want to keep an eye on, because Lissandra's one of those champions. You talked about Huhi's got this style where sometimes he's in a matchup, he only wants to shove up and then get early backs so he can get small purchases and gain just the Doran's Blade up on someone, as we're seeing him do now. You know, he hasn't even taken a bunch of damage. He hasn't even had to burn through any potions, but shove up that lane on Lissandra very quickly with your Q spam, and he just takes that opportunity, get an extra Doran's Ring, and uses his teleport to get right back into lane. Try and continue the shove.
He only missed a few minions on that one, actually, so he should be good. Ping's just below him.
Yeah, he might get punished here for his shoving place down. Nope.
Oh, they didn't let him take the claw. This could be the kill. No,
Oh, he's dead.
No aggressive summoners, though.
He's
They
toast.
gotta hit him. Oh, he's gonna give the kill up. Got stuck in the gravity field. Very
yeah.
nicely timed.
So that's something that you're going to see a lot, is when junglers go for the early gank on Lissandra and the claw is thrown out pretty early there, the timing, it's so close on, you know, when to go for that flash knock-up or stun, depending on what champion you are, to try and stun her so she can't take the end of the claw, and the claw will actually still time out. Oh, Impact going to have to blow a lot here to escape that 1 versus 1. Darshan also has that wave under his control, I think.
See how quick that lane changes.
But yeah, let's take a look at the timing here. Since the claw was thrown out pretty early there, you know, Midas was like, all right, I'm in there for the exact right range plus timing on that claw. It's going to be off. And, you know, at worst as a jungler, she's going to be able to trade that and not have to burn her flash. But at best, you get that first blood guaranteed. The flash is also blown.
Yep.
So Huhi has to abandon that playstyle he wants to play of constantly shoving with Lissandra. He has no teleport to get back to lane. He has no flash for safety. And he's actually going to just continue right back at it because the minion wave was pushing away from him and he had no choice.
That was really nicely pinged out by Jensen as well. Completely pinged out. He was just like, I'm going to go around, lock him up. No teleport now to get back to lane on that either. And a little love from McSmithy towards the top side. Remember, Impact just flashed.
He's trying to bait it, Darshan here. He's like, use your abilities.
Playful and Trickster, please.
Just Smithy's gonna stick around. He's using a lot of time up here, but persistence sometimes does pay off. Darshan really trying to bait hard. This is so clear. Impact should definitely know. He's like, Darshan's just going berserk right now. Unless he recently contracted rabies or something, there's a jungler here.
I think he's all right in that case. That's great though. Stixay down from Mu going hard on the bot. Impact playing very smart in that top lane. It's not. He wants that Dark Seal to go to good use, not bad use. So he stays back. Smithy's actually going to help get this lane pushed up a little bit because he spent, like you said, a little too long up here having fun in the top lane. He's still up in CS though, as he was cruising around the jungle, making sure that the CS was happening as Meteos was ganking.
Yeah, and Meteos has gone for the super early Sightstone. Try and get those wards out here with Rek'Sai, but it is semi-answered with Smithy going trackers. Ah, yes. Calming noise of Rek'Sai tunnels.
Just tremoring underground.
Pink wards used for him, and he gets some counter jungling off with
Whoa!
Ooh, you are too deep, my friend. Ooh, he actually held onto his ult. That is some confident play.
And that's when he knew.
Or did he just pop 6 from that kill? Either way, Huhi's going to have ult ready And it's a really aggressive move from Jensen that gets punished. No cleanse for him. So, oh, this is just going to be a trade of damage, actually.
I mean, I see the amount of wards that Cloud9 has, but still, let's see the replay again to see how really sure of himself Jensen was to go in for that.
It's one of those things we usually tally up to Cloud9. We're like, okay, they're going to have a lot of mid pressure. Oh, Smithy going to get punished on this pink ward. A lot of life loss, but Soraka's here. Through the ignite.
Oh, it's burning. He's good. Phew.
Close call there for Smithy.
Almost cost him his life to just go back and forth and play with the ward there, not giving enough respect to mid. We'll see what happens here.
So who he was 5. He gets 6 off of the kill, so yeah. And then at that point, leveling up with Dangerous Game as well, I believe.
Smithy was coming on a base, not around the wards either. So he was like, oh, there's no jungler.
Anyways, regardless, Jensen, he had earned his classic lead on CS in the mid lane that we have seen so often from him. Afromu gets knocked up, but probably will be the end of it. Yeah. But Jensen does get punished. Still retains his CS lead, though.
Yep. With the help of Meteos just being a menace in that mid lane, knowing he can continuously punish there, even in a short 2v1, and still give himself enough sustain, or have enough health, I should say, to head back into the jungle. Not too much of a gold lead just yet for Cloud9, but a lot of back and forth this game. A lot less deaths. Everybody's playing very, very careful coming into this one, and top lane may get a little bit more love. Smithy spent some time up here before. This time he wants to try and get something for him.
Yeah, they definitely don't want...
Unfortunately, that's a big wave.
Yeah, you definitely don't want your top laner to get ganked once Fizz has level 6, because even though Darshan's got the lead in this, Fizz at level 6 is really good at setting up ganks for his jungler. And very, very often, junglers in that lane will want to get a Fizz snowballing as well, so it's kind of good on pretty much all fronts. And that's just a cautionary move there by Smithy to head up. It was an attempt at a counter gank in case they tried to go with that Fizz ult and Rek'Sai combo onto Darshan, but Meteos not even making a move over there. He's focusing on that farm in Vision Game as we talked about.
Oh! Throws down the Chaos Storm in the Gravity Field. Jensen's out of mana on this one, so he's basically going to give himself some time in lane.
Rush teleport.
Should be a back and then a back to mid lane for Jensen there. Smithy was seen here clearing out tunnels just a little bit ago. He spent a lot of time there, so I was going to say, might want to get out. Alphamu with pressure in the bot lane, and it looks like Stixay actually tried to step 2 on that one. Sneaky says, all right, let's do it. No Tidecaller's Blessing to go across as well to help Sneaky out on that one. Very close Peacemaker to taking down Alphamu. So we haven't been down here, but these guys are still going at it, back and forth. 87 to 87 in CS.
Another look at that bottom lane. We talked about Smoothie. He's bringing in the Nami for the bottom lane. We want to go a little bit more heal-oriented. Fight over the...
Sustain the pain.
Not even a fight over the Raptors. So just give them all away.
Got me all excited. Traps down. Stixay choosing not to walk on that. So blue buff over to Jensen. Things much quieter this game here as Cloud9 have not been able to get the either lane, I should say, going. At any rate, having a lane do as good as they did last game would kind of put you in the lead. But CLG has staved that off. 800 gold lead here, 10 minutes in for Cloud9.
Yep, and a lot of it is coming from that mid lane with Jensen, CS lead. Plus he had that kill earlier on, so it's about 600 gold sitting there is the discrepancy. Other than that, yeah, small around the board. 200 or so for top for Darshan. Getting that Trundle melee matchup always feels good. And he is trying to punish Impact as much as he can. Plus, of course, those visits from Smithy so often up there mean that Impact can't really ever go aggressive because they're not expending any effort into Vision on the top side. Even though we said, oh yeah, Meteos playing Vision-centric, Sight Zone early.
Right.
He's used most of them around mid and bottom side. So Cloud9, they're kind of leaving Impact up there. Deal with your own problems. And we're just going to farm it out.
Very reliable in holding his CS leads. Jensen now 20 CS up just after that first claw kill, really. We did see a semi-repeat by Meteos. He came by to say hi. But Uhi's just been using that teleport to try and get back to lane, try and match Jensen here. He hasn't been able to really produce anything, and when Jensen gets the chance, Chaos storms him out of lane each time.
I really like that style as well, where you're not cautious with your ultimate. You're just gonna keep throwing it out to get lane dominance. We might have a skirmish up here first, but no. Okay, so anyways, it's a style that we saw lots with Talons in high elo, like solo queue play, because the cooldown's so short on his ultimate. You can clear a wave plus get a bunch of damage down. So people weren't even using it super early to assassinate.
Yeah.
You know, just gain a whole bunch of, lane control and it'll be back up in a very short amount of time.
Back in the day when you had a Gragas mid, right? Your cast would come up, you throw your cask and get the cooldown.
Anytime you got a low cooldown, high damage,
Heck yeah.
use it to gain lane dominance.
Slowly doing that here in the bot lane with auto attacks. Not as gigantic of an attack, but still used efficiently. It's 121 to 118. Like we said, they're staying very, very even without really the kill pressure in that bot lane to allow their bloodthirst to come through.
You notice with the first really deep move, and he does get chased out, but not punished.
Finally seeing him testing the waters here on both sides. There's going to be a Cloud Drake for the first one up. It doesn't look like there's going to be any fight for it just yet. Jensen getting a little bit of love in mid lane, cleansed immediately on the tomb, and he'll be safe.
Yeah, good cleanse. He's able to hold on to his flash there, judging the distance that he had for Smithy. I mean, you always judge the distance accounting for flash of the enemy jungler, because flash on Gragas is pretty much guaranteed if you are close enough for the body slam flash. So he's able to walk out with just the cleanse. Definitely meaningful. Up top though, Darshan finally able to get some alone time with the turret. He's been fighting Impact over and over, trying to push him out of lane, finally able to get it. And once again, they have Smithy up there just for support in case there was some kind of counter move from C9 if they tried to hold on to it somehow. But they're going to give it up. Impact going to drop that top turret.
A little bit of gold now over to CLG. Stixay and Ephraim are just going to hold tight. Very, very slow compared to last game. I've said it before, but it looks like they're giving each other a lot of respect, or rather not wanting to lose the game kind of intention coming from both sides. This was not done last game, and it will very much so help Darshan in his approach to that top lane.
Yeah, it's a really good situation for CLG to actually go for this, because they just took the top lane. Darshan's going to be... Oh, pick it up. Yeah, you want... There you go. Darshan's going to be able to further cement his 1 versus 1 lead against Impact, and that's going to be huge for CLG. Classic style where they like the 1-4 split push with just Darshan splitting. They also did some variations of the 1-3-1 where they had multiple split pushers and who he might get to that point. As of right now, he's hurting a little bit, but it definitely is an option for them. Now that Darshan has this glimpse of the Void buff, I think he's just going to teleport back to lane here to try and catch this wave. But they might give it up, and he might just walk so they can make a double teleport play. Interesting. Okay, they are going to give that up, that wave up, and maybe they'll open up for some deeper wards. Look for them to try and set up deep wards to capitalize on a teleport from Darshan, because he's going to lose probably 2 waves for that choice.
Even I want that CS.
I mean, the reason why I was questioning is because this is a crucial moment where they're both about to hit level 11. Now Impact has that level 11, but he's not going to be able to make use of it. Mid lane, there it is.
There is pop back. Jensen gets the explosive cast. Smoothie's doing everything he can to save him. Throws out the heals, and he does keep Jensen alive. Here's the teleport in, though. Darshan's going to be right in the middle of the fire, and he gets cooked up. That's 3 down for Counter Logic Gaming, and a call that could and should have been changed.
Oh my goodness, C9 protect their own. Jensen had no cleanse from the previous move mid, and the repeat from CLG fails because Smoothie gets there just in time with the heals, allowing him to buy more time, and that all of Cloud9 arrive. Also, CLG didn't get to make any play elsewhere on the map, as the duo lane was trying to push into turret, but that's pretty much all they got, and that's not going to mean much after all those kills go over to Cloud9. Very big start for them.
You were saying a little bit of disengage would go a long way.
They're not done. Look at the Soraka might be the target.
They are pushing
right, they let her
far
walk.
back behind. Oh, they just squeak behind very slowly. They get themselves in the right spot, though, so they can take that out nice and easy. And finally, we see the first bit of aggression actually backfire, really. The wards were there for Cloud9, and they knew how to recuperate. They knew how to get themselves back in there, and Smoothie just being off on the wing played a very big role in disengaging that fight.
Yeah, I mean, last game, it was CLG trying to create from the bottom side. This time it's CLG creating mid. They do get the combo, but Smoothie arrives with the heal plus the bubbles, and everybody's there. I mean, Cloud9 collapsed so quickly.
Oh, the shields.
That's really got to hurt, because we are just talking about how CLG were making their small steps. Like, okay, Darshan,
right.
He's not going to use his teleport, so he loses these 2 waves, but hey, we're going to make a double teleport play. He's got that glimpse of the void too, so he can get advantage in his 1 versus 1. A lot of that goes out the window. They use their teleport there in a fail play so that they also die. And a lot of that advantage they were building up goes out the window. Darshan still, though, has the buff, so he gets that 5% damage reduction. He also can proc his extra magic damage. I don't know if he can even up a 3 versus 1, though.
Oh, the flash bait to keep Darshan in. He just came back from being down and goes back. 34 seconds on the clock for him. A bubble from Smoothie as Smithy tries to body slam his way to safety. And it does not look good for Counterlogic Gaming as they once again try to wander into C9's jungle.
Yeah, the counterplay here from C9, they're just... Team play is overcoming CLG aggression. Every time CLG try and create, not able to keep the rest of Cloud9 in check. And C9 collapse first, again for the advantage.
And this kill distribution as well has to feel good. 2 on some of the solos, the 80 carry, assists for your jungler and support as they take down top turret. Coming up on 20 minutes in, 6-1 now as Cloud9 catapult to the lead.
Yeah, I mean, CLG, if they're going to go for these moves, I mean, they do have some vision, but it doesn't look like they're really checking all the boxes, and they're not quite sure that they do have control of everyone, because let's take a look at this.
It's a great bait.
Grokkus, you look at that. Grokkus actually has the inside track, so that's Smithy there, and he has vision of Rek'Sai, so Darshan knows at least Rek'Sai is coming. Smithy's backing off because he can't take the Rek'Sai 1 versus 1, and Darshan goes for another trade, and it's just, yeah, they just let him get inside there. They had vision of him. Maybe it was bad communication for the team, but it looked like actually a very common and pretty easy collapse for C9. They're able to clean up the extra kills here. CLG look a little bit out of sorts still. Shaken by that first game where things really went downhill in lane phase.
Tried to use Wish as well there to save Darshan in the exit. So quite a few resources used across the map when, like you were saying, CLG kind of want to use these on their own accord when they get up to an event and make it happen. Those teleports are coming back up. It may be something else they can put in the book to make happen here.
Yeah, it definitely makes me want to bring up that point again that we were talking about for Cloud9. They were struggling a little bit bringing in the new players, you know, and working with, they said they were working on a new communication style, because this obviously is the team that for so long had High as the solo shot caller, but now they brought in Reaper as the coach, and first thing he's trying to work on is clean up the communication of the guys, so, you know, everybody's adding value, everybody's communicating small bits of information. It's an interesting thing that you have to balance, because you don't want your communication to be overwhelmed with everyone talking at once. But you do need information from all points of the map, and it looks like Cloud9 have really ironed it out so far, as they've been able to collapse very quickly. You know, everyone's arriving on time, much quicker than CLG. So definitely props to Cloud9 with their recent focus in that area.
Making sure that it's not just one person talking. Nice job, Xmitty.
Slick moves there for the big man.
Whoop. Just sidestepping. Ooh. Oh. Watch out for the explosion on that laser. Could take them out with the afterburn.
It's also a great way to up your damage per minute numbers. If you just, as Victor, throwing out full combos, not for kills, but every time it's on cooldown on your opponent, just to force them out of lane, you gain some map control.
Just hit him.
Oh, who he know?
On to Sneaky. There's nobody around him to follow up, though. That's what CLG needs. The rest of the cavalry, and they'll fly through. Sneaky's down, and now with that big ultimate and a little bit of the DPS gone, CLG can
They need
push
more.
forward happily on this one. Darshan looking for a pillar that would stop Meteos.
Yeah.
But they got to look for the lanes as well. Can they push something up here and not just fight?
That's a pretty good pick for CLG, and it's on the 80 carry, so it should open up the map, but they need to get more. They've been bleeding gold, and they really need to... They get the mid turret. That's going to open up a lot. Look, they're looking for so much here, actually. Would be a dangerous dive.
Once you sink your teeth in, you don't let go. It looks like what CLG has right now. Impact, however, trying to push them back, and he'll get Jensen up in the line. Once they get the laser in from Victor, they should be able to clear the waves.
Very necessary move there from CLG. Nice teleport from Huhi. Got right into the middle with Lissandra. He did use his ult offensively, so he was a little bit more in danger, but they had the numbers advantage, and they saw Jensen bottom lane, which was key. They know this is a mid laner without teleport. Jensen cannot get over here, so they go super aggressive, and they do get the turret afterwards, even though Impact there going to fail that wall. We've seen a couple of pros do it on various champions today, or this week.
It
happens. Everyone
happens.
as well.
Just makes you feel more human.
Yes, pro level.
Pro level human.
All right, Cloud Drake up next. Looks like Cloud9 should easily get it. They have this pretty deep ward line, honestly. And CLG not willing to risk much for a Cloud Drake. They're already in the hole as far as the gold goes. They don't want to fight a T-fight without having the opportunity for Hugi to use a flank again. Having used his teleport to grab that kill previously. So Cloud9 will claim Cloud Drake. All is right. Automatically.
Heading towards the top side, so it looks like we're going to start to get the split from Chronologic Gaming. How will it spread Cloud9 thin, though? It actually doesn't look like who he wants to go any further than just past that river, keeping himself on a good rule of thumb there in safety. He heads back down towards mid, so really, CLG's just got to buy in time, walking around the map right now.
Yeah.
As they get the lanes pushed up. Wait for Darshan in the bot lane. He has one more turret on the outside, and that's the one that CLG will be looking for if this Baron never falls.
Yeah, they do have to be a little bit cautious with how they choose to get back into this game. Because Huhi, right now, no teleport. He's going to the split push, but he's got 3 people on his tail.
Claw was just used to farm. Couldn't have been better. Meteos wanted to see that with the rest of the team. They are pushing mid. Chronologic Gaming is going to meet Jensen.
Mid turret.
And it looks like they're actually going all the way down to the bottom to try and get a kill and possibly 2 turrets along the way. They stopped that idea and now go back to mid with the Sivir ultimate so they can pincer move onto Jensen. It was all in the plans all the time.
Pretty good rotation there from CLG. They won't end up getting a turret, though. They chose the kill. Now the teleport counter from Cloud9.
Couldn't get the pop-up just yet. Waiting for it.
Afro.
The rest of the team's going to be able to clear it out. Afromu is very hurt on the backside, trying to throw some heals and silences in for the team. He's almost going to go down. If Impact can get to the back line, he does not flip forward over Stixay. Impact somehow still alive, lives through that as well from the Equinox of Afromu, and they're still going on members of Cloud or CLG right now. Stixay gets taken down. What a messy fight back and forth. Slivers of health running back and forth.
Yeah, the extended team fights with these support healers on both sides. And a surprise crit to end it there actually ends up very close as far as kills traded. That's going to be all the teleports, I believe, on cooldown for a while till Huhi's comes back up. So the craziness has ended for the meantime. But C9 actually, let's see here. At this point, they're going to use teleport to answer. Afromu doesn't get finished off here because of the heal from Stixay and his own ultimate. Then Impact has a rough time getting back in to finish him off. Flash is out there, and Afromu's staying on slivers of health, trying to throw out single more heal for the team. See, look at this. Stixay does get him with the crit for the end there.
Down to the wire. Really such spread out fights, waiting to see what happens when these teams meet 5-on-5. We had Jensen actually going down in the beginning of that one, if you remember, to the On the Hunt. So it was almost like an afterthought once it happened.
The other thing, worth noting in these skirmishes where we see Stixay pretty much 1 versus 1ing or 1 versus 2ing is that he has the Phantom Dancer. So he is going to get that extra damage reduction on whoever's trying to dive him. In addition to the Soraka healing him, he's going with this pretty defensive second item, I guess, for the Phantom Dancer, I think he's going to go Infinity Edge after, so he can get crit. Actually goes Armor Penetration right after. So no Infinity Edge crits for this Sivir for quite a while, whereas the Caitlyn already has Infinity Edge. That's going to be a pretty big difference. But we may see it in the difference of those dives. If you've got a healer healing you up, Phantom Dancer extra kiting ability, as well as damage reduction on the target that you are hitting, might be the difference between Impact taking him down in one of those dives and sticking up. So interesting choice we will be able to monitor.
Definitely keep an eye on those AD carries, especially with the sustain coming in from the supports. They're up a little bit longer. They're the ones trying to get the last hits and get all the autos in.
Definitely true. As far as cutting through, okay, no claw taken. But yeah, as far as cutting through frontliners though, Sneaky with the Infinity Edge is going to be able to do it a lot better.
Whoa! Stixxay with the rest of the team trying to route Cloud9 here as they come around mid, but it doesn't work. Tidal Wave gets thrown out. They get washed away for the time being. But when does Meteos not re-engage? Goes back in onto Darshan with just little to no catch coming in there, so Cloud9 can't hold on.
Disengages means everybody heals back up because they're both back in healers in these comps, so it's going to be Cloud9 with the inside track on the minions in mid lane though. Can they cut CLG off from the side?
Let's see how they work it. No, on the hunt to rush into the fight. An explosive cast can separate Cloud9. Huhi looking to ult somebody, but Impact would not be his target.
Yep, Huhi does that flash as well. Both teams here playing very cautiously, positioning around mid lane and backing off. Now it's CLG with the lane pressure as they're running their minion wave up.
They're just trading positions here.
All right, tank's going in though.
Meteos in, Impact is in. Huhi's going to be in the middle. He's going to Frozen Tomb himself. Impact should be going down here. A nice reset coming in from Stixxay. He gets a kill for himself. And we're going to see Impact go down. They fly back in. The pillar separates them as the double kill comes in for Stixxay. They're reassessing the fight as Stixxay puts himself on the back line, but Sneaky's doing the same. A few more hits. Subjugate's taking him down, and he gets hit one last time. He will go down. And that's going to be the kill coming in for Darshan before he falls valiantly. 3 for 3 on each side.
I love me some team fights with full-on WoW compositions of main tanks up front, healers at the back, DPS actually flashing in. I'm definitely going to need to take a replay of this one. Let's take a look here, because Meteos walks his way in. So this tank actually takes a decent amount of damage on the way in, but Crucial Flash here from Huhi avoids the silence. He was on the very edge of it. So Huhi getting off his ultimate there was a big part of CLG getting the first leg up, but the gravity field from Jensen was the counter, only to be answered by Smithy's body slam flash. Then here is the flash in from Sneaky, and he's able to kill Stixxay with that crit through the healing. And then he's on the front line where Darshan just walks right up with his extra move speed for the clobber kill. Ends up 3 kills for each side, and both teams come away licking their wounds.
Definitely what you want to see at game 2 of the series. Both teams seem to have each other's number on this one. A little bit of a lead from C9 still means Counter Logic Gaming will come out even in these fights. And we just saw them go up.
Look at Smithy's legs right now.
Always, always. You gotta keep the move going, man. That's the adrenaline.
Team fights like that, gotta get going.
That's the adrenaline. I know I'm always got the jitters when high intensity plays go flying around. And I'm sure we're gonna see more of them. Like I was just saying, that was a run up and down the mid lane, dictated by either team, and then to the other side of the map. And finally, Cloud9 and CLG both said, we've had enough, we're gonna fight. That's all fizzled out. It's 12-7 now, 30 minutes. 5 more minutes, we'll start to see Elders.
Down.
5 more minutes, you see Stars. Smoothie goes down immediately. C9 thinks they're just gonna walk away with an Ocean Drake, but it's really going over to CLG. Smithy goes down for the Smite fight, and it's gonna be a double kill now for Stixxay. Looking for a few more on the outside, throws the boomerang in, now tries to close the gap. Jensen's gonna be in by himself. He gets taken down by Huhi, and Cloud9 just set themselves up for destruction.
There it is. You go with classic compositions, classic counters right there. Kill the healer first, then they're able to take over the fight around Dragon.
That's it.
CLG also claimed the Ocean Drake afterwards, and they're moving to clear out the wards at least. Impact's hovering on the back side, but Aphromu's got to be really careful with his positioning because he's sitting at half right now. Here comes Stixxay as well, so Stixxay and Impact going to be the 2 to try and interrupt this.
Oh, good damage. Doesn't
Quick
have
peek
the fish.
from Impact, he gets back out.
Exhaust.
A lot of Baron damage. Whew. All right, they stopped the Baron once again. Boss counter, giving up on that one. See how quickly they return to the scene of the crime, though.
Ooh. Playing with fire. He's safe.
All right. Now, I think the thing that CLG, their next real big breakpoint for these team fights is going to matter is going to be that Infinity Edge for the Sivir. But look at that. Once again, beautiful job there. Smithy, Gragas ultimate, pop that healer back out. Once the healer's done, they know they can just go straight forward and ram into the Dragon Pit. It does end up costing Smithy his life, though. Right there as he gets bursted down. Doesn't really respect the gravity field. But they do end up cleaning up in the end anyways. Plus, he was able to get the dragon before going down. So both teams are going to be looking to take out those healers first. And it's just very difficult to get back there. CLG do have probably better options to attack that healer, as they do have the Meteor Assault, as we just saw. And then Huhi can get right in there with some Sivir speed. But it is still going to be dangerous. And I would still recommend self-ult from Huhi, unless he has a very clear, numbers advantage, or, picking somebody off. Because buying himself invulnerability time is crucial on this Lissandra.
And their team actually controls so much terrain when you think about their ultimates, or even Darshan with his pillar as well as the ground contaminant to be able to run faster. They have so much displacement and control an area so quickly. And then on the hunt, get to where you want to be. Really looking good for CLG right now in the way we're describing it. But they got to make it work themselves. So far, only down 2K. I got 1.7. They still have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, the gold's shrinking, plus the items that are crucial we talked about. That Infinity Edge is now complete on Sivir. So Stixxay will get crits on the whole team with the ricochets. And CLG are feeling a lot better about this game. They do not want to let Cloud9 take this one away, because CLG have had a pretty rough start to the season. Week 2, they want to bounce back pretty quickly. This would be a really big way to get there. They want to push this to a game 3. They still have definite work ahead of them, though. Cloud9 is pretty strong.
Just the ward game now, trying to set up that line of security so they can get themselves the initiation that they want. CLG displaces one person, and that's the kill they need.
Exactly.
Cloud9 can move across the map very fast and get themselves the fight if CLG cannot make it happen fast enough.
It's all about that teamfight setup at this point. As you say, setting up vision, that's the first step. Then you can apply initiation when you see the enemy out of position. It's all about flanks here for CLG. Who he's going to try and get right back in there, cause some chaos. Because Stixxay and Afro actually feel pretty good about kiting backwards. And they feel pretty safe on their own, especially with Smithy back there trying to body slam off. C9 don't really have a great dive comp. They're more of a melt your frontline comp there and try and just let Caitlyn sit there, get off her Runon's crit auto attacks. Vito's trying to get this Trundle off his turret, but it's a difficult task.
This is bring the fish down. We'll use him. Impact's going to come down to assist now. It actually looks like this could get pretty scary for Chronologic Gaming once they push themselves up to these turrets. They get tidal waved in a bad spot, and they'll be using Sivir ult to get out of these fights.
Definitely true. And we do have the double Spirit Visage that I was talking about for the front line when you have a Soraka comp. Smithy and Darshan, they're both champions that want to build Spirit Visage anyway. Plus they have a Soraka, so ridiculous amounts of healing. Whenever we see a lot of healing Riv, you know what we want, that healing reduction on the enemy team. So everybody should be getting that Executioner's Calling upgrade there. Lord Dominic's actually was picked up for Stixxay, because they're not quite worried about the healing as much, even though, I don't know, Nami late game healing, I guess you don't have to be as worried about it, but it's still pretty significant.
Oh, it's Smithy with a bit of a misplay there. Body slams over the wall. He's going to be helped here. That is Huhi in. Frozen Tomb on himself. Then the Zanyas right in a row. He's going to get pinned out immediately. The team can't follow up.
Yep, and here goes C9 aggressively going for Afromu and Stixxay. Backline cutting away.
Doesn't look like it's ending just yet. Chaos Storm pushes out Stixxay. The fight in the bot lane still going on between Impact and Darshan, as it looks like Xmithy wants to keep tabs on Cloud9 now. They're going to head towards Baron. He's got to keep that 50-50 a possible smite for himself. If they do go for it, they were able to stop Cloud9 once. They're looking slightly low, and Cloud9 may just be looking for bait here.
Yep, gonna clear it out, and Smithy walks right in. Oh, Afro!
Go for the heals. That's the deals. Now they're going to be on to Xmithy. He flashes away, and now he's down below half HP. Stixay is going to be able to do what he can to help stop this Baron, but CLG is now completely playing
Everybody
with
back
fire.
to the boss. They're going to converge once again. It's a 3-man defense for CLG trying to interrupt this nice boomerang there.
Tidal Wave is there for Smoothie if he needs to push the team out. Meteos says, I'm going in head first. We'll take Xmithy first. The smite fight is gone now. It's all up to whoever can just take the Baron, but now that too many res on the side of CLG to stop that, and it looks like the answer is yes. Huhi is back up, but wait, C9 stay. They were about to back. They have to know the timers of the new members of CLG coming back up here. If Darshan turns, they might know that is a bait into that fight, so Cloud9, they try for another one, but may just buy CLG more time to set back up here on their way out.
Darshan did buy a bit of time, but he had to blow his flash for that, which was pretty big. Going back to that team fight that set all of this up, though, he went for the offensive ult with his Lissandra. Unless, I'm telling you, unless you're guaranteed that kill, that pick, it's so risky because he only has the one invulnerability to rely upon. But here it is. Cloud9, return to the Baron, start it back up. And CLG, they have to know this is happening. They have to guess that it is. Even though they don't have vision, there it is, Aphromu's in there.
They had a few walking down already towards the Elder, but CLG called off.
They got it.
No star call today is going to be taking that. It does go over to Cloud9, and Elder Drake is also on the board, so CLG has that possibility. If they can get there while minions are not crashing into their base, this is going to get even harder.
Okay. Yeah, C9 feeling pretty good. I mean, Sneaky, the one with the Mortal Reminder, he's been sitting on for a while, trying to cut the healing of Soraka. It's been working, but it's still been ridiculously oppressive healing from CLG with that front line boosted by Spear Visages. See if it will be enough to defend here, though, because C9 are coming for the secondary turrets. CLG don't want to give up kills here. Huhi actually positioning for that flank.
Look to get even more aggressive on these plays. Impact onto Huhi immediately, causing him to claw out. Smoothie picked up the Mikhail, so even Sneaky rather, can go a little bit harder in these fights and get himself into a good position. And now Cloud9 push on with Baron. Minion waves haven't really pushed up too far, so it looks like mid lane will be what they were focusing on here. Just can't go too far ahead. We now see a Guardian Angel on Darshan. Him up as well. Meteos has one for himself, but looks like C9 gives the respect necessary to CLG, and they're going to work the outside of the map before they get too far into the base.
Yeah, the Elder Dragon is up as well, so nobody really wants to extend too far, go for one of those
that's true.
Super risky dives, because that, even though there haven't been too many Drakes taken in the game, and it's a kind of a small Elder Dragon prize, it's definitely going to cause a fight here, and it's dropping really quickly. Trap line right there, gonna cut off CLG's front line. Darshan has to step on them to get through. 5,000 life on the dragon. They're not going for it.
Not even going to attempt. The trap line set by Sneaky pretty much just shut everybody out. Darshan's gonna go down immediately. He just kept eating cupcake after cupcake. That's gonna give you an upset belly. He goes down, 17-10, coming up on 40 minutes. And now Cloud9 have free reign of a lane if they want. Once they start to split this.
They've got the double late game buffs, Baron and Elder Dragon. 2 Drake Elder Dragon. So he's got that extra 45 on the for every Drake for the true damage burn. And they're gonna run right up mid lane here as Darshan's not gonna be back on the field for 40 seconds. This might be the end of at least one inhibitor, maybe 2. I mean, Nexus turrets.
Huhi is waiting on the fountain. He was getting his boost back up, but didn't want to fully go into the fight just yet. Seeing if home guards could make an impact, and they're going to go right on the Nexus turrets, Kobe. They're not really giving any love to CLG here. They're saying, we have a bit of a lead, and we're going to take a lot more. Sneaky's eyes are on the prize as he takes down the Nexus turrets. Meteos tries to go through Xmithy to get to the same cause, and now they're going to be back towards the fountain. Impact doing what he can to defend off basically the entire team. And here comes a home guarded CLG. Xmithy very low, waiting for the home guard to pop, but nobody's giving him the time of day for it to pop. It's almost causing him more trouble than it is useful. Stixay getting 2 kills there. Huhi and Aphromu are down. Darshan could be going down as well. That's a double kill coming in for Jensen. Cloud9's gonna stay for the long haul. They're in the base and they're looking for the Nexus. Finally taking it before 3 full games. Cloud9 get a best of 2 series. They take it over Counter Logic Gaming 21-10. C9 take down CLG in 2 games.
Cloud9 with an impressive series here against the defending champs, and CLG are having a very rough start to this split. Jensen there, great on Victor, had map control the entire time, constantly chunking down Huhi in the mid lane. Everybody on Cloud9 though, I mean Sneaky and Smoothie in the bottom lane. They subbed in Smoothie here. Again, they were able to pick up the victory. You know, a bit more defensive lane. They had the healing from Smoothie, came up very big at times.
It was defensive, but I loved, again, the 1-2, level 1-2 aggro. Bananas and just water. They were throwing balloons at each other, and they literally got each other down to half while just Stixay and Sneaky were farming it out. So trying to put him to the test immediately, and Smoothie kind of stood tall there. The ultimates as well to keep fights going. There, his bubbles were hitting. Really, Cloud9, we're right to say this is a change we do because we can make that change, and it's how we want to play the team, and they've been doing a fantastic job with it. Chronologic Gaming. Oh, no way.
It's Body by Jensen.
It's Body by Jensen.
Signature fragrance.
I've never seen a real meme come to life.
I want to
It's
actually
alive.
smell what it is. Is it actually a fragrance or is there just water in there? It looks pretty ornate. I feel like they would go the extra mile and
Oh
actually
my
put
gosh.
A fragrance in there.
It probably just smells like salt and water.
Not after that 2-0 series. They're feeling pretty good about themselves, so maybe they.
Well,
won't-
that's just a general
Maybe they
smell.
want to apply it now.
It's just a general smell.
But yeah, I have to say, all around for Cloud9, even though people are going to point to the carries because Jensen and Sneaky racked up a bunch of kills and they were doing work. They had good positioning in these team fights. The front line as well for Cloud9 did really well. Plus the fact that Impact had to do most of the early game kind of on his own.
Yeah.
He was getting enemy jungle pressure. He was versus a Trundle on the Fizz. He was, had to really have a lot of measured play, and he remained very relevant, even though it was very, very much down in CS, and it was a rough go for the early stages.
And I think it becomes apparent where CLG is kind of saying there's a ramp up time because the little things in these games are setting them farther behind than they actually should. Than we've seen CLG be set behind before. Like when we saw he got hit up in the mid lane and then he got hit right when he was backing. That set him back 20 CS, and that almost seemed they couldn't recover from that. Little things like that, Chronologic Gaming would kind of swap, go back to something they knew, get that 500 gold lead back, and then be back in the game. But it seems to amount to 1.5 now, 2.5, and then it falls apart when they do try something, as we were saying with the double TPs. Once it came up, it actually didn't work out for them.
Yeah, CLG definitely with some improvements to be made. Also, the level of competition for them coming back
That's very
after last
true.
split has risen. A lot of North American teams looks like they could take games off of almost all of the other ones. But now, let's hand it off to Azael, who is ready to get the player perspective with Cloud9's AD carry Sneaky.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Sneaky, who just took a 2-0 over CLG. And I got to ask, first off, a lot of support from the fans here. How does it feel coming into this week? You knew probably would be a pretty tough matchup. Were you guys confident?
We knew CLG was struggling a bit, so we didn't think it would definitely be easy, but we were pretty confident in our abilities, and I think we improved a lot over the last whole week. And even though we dropped the game to Phoenix yesterday, I think we learned a lot from that.
Awesome. So game one, brought out the Ashe, obviously, got ahead very, very early in that. Game two, Caitlyn, coming into 6-11, how do you feel about the ADCs now? Like, do you feel that with the Lucian nerfs, he's no longer on top? What's the priority for you looking like, and how do you feel about that?
I'm not entirely sure about Lucian anymore. He got nerfed, but there was a lot of people still playing him in scrims, so I didn't touch him too much. I think he's okay. He feels a little bit awkward because the only time you can actually hit your Q in lane is if they're going for a last hit. So it's way harder to poke him down. But overall, AD carries are in an interesting spot. They're like kind of sticking to the utility part again, where it's like Ashe, Kalista, Sivir. Not so much Kalista, but I don't know. It's okay for me. I don't mind playing those kind of champions. I actually really like playing Ashe. She does so much damage, and Caitlyn's pretty cool.
Caitlyn is pretty cool and can definitely bring the damage. So, another question. As the ADC, in this 6-man roster, you're swapping back and forth for supports. How do you adjust going from game to game?
It's not too different for me playing with both supports. I think they have a pretty similar play style because it's more about just how we play as a whole, and they kind of just bring the same things, maybe a little bit different champion priority. And I'd say both of them played really well today. Bunny was landing tons of hooks on Afro and 6A. It was pretty gross. And then the last game, Smoothie was doing really well.
Awesome. Well, congrats again and good luck next week against TSM. Now for more, let's send it to Dash and the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Azale. Cloud9 2-0 over our defending champions. Got to see that impressive base push and very elongated fight around the Nexus turrets, but pulling it off and putting kind of their stamp on it as they do continue to switch out that roster. We saw Bunny play game 1. We saw Smoothie play game 2. Same result. So they're going to be happy walking away with a victory with both sets of rosters.
Yeah, I think it was a good win for Smoothie. I think he was starting to get a little dogged by the community because they had a better win rate with Bunny, but you see that it's not always just because of that. Other players can play worse for one game, and
Right.
it has nothing to do with you. So Bunny stepped up here, Smoothie stepped up, had a pretty good game 2.
Yeah, on that Nami, we saw making multiple roams, and that's where I want to jump into our replays for this game specifically. 15:30 into the game, 3-0 for Cloud9 off of aggression from CLG. But Sneaky and Smoothie are going to roam up here. They're going to answer that aggression and counter gank Xmithy, as well as the quick TP in from Impact.
Yeah, I mean, that was the kind of thing where you just have like a moment's notice. The Nami wave comes through, the bubble comes through. He's able to keep Jensen alive with the heals, and that's kind of the story of C9 is that they're very good about reacting to other teams' plays. They always seem to be just in the right position. It doesn't always work out necessarily, but it's never like, oh, we're totally blindsided. I don't see that much.
Yeah, and then, of course, we're going to move to the 18-minute mark into the game. Same exact thing happens. CLG aggression out of Darshan in the top lane. We're going to have a rotation to the top from both Meteos and Smoothie, and they're going to pick up 2 kills here, 2 for 0.
Yeah, I mean, this was another situation where CLG starts the play. It looks like it might be a solo kill. Impact was actually probably baiting it the entire time, kind of knew that he had backup coming. Then they finally get here just a little bit before the rest of the team, and they start picking people up. Once again, Smoothie landing nice bubbles, landing a good ultimate as well earlier, and Jensen on the backside finally gets the kill.
There it is, nice and clean. So, Dyrus, let me ask you this. We have talked a little bit about CLG, vacation time, struggling to catch up to the meta, all that kind of stuff, because they did. They were playing on previous patches at MSI. They, of course, had the least amount of time of all the teams to adjust to the current state of the game. But beyond all that, one wouldn't think, looking at the defending champions and the way that they played at MSI, that they would be struggling this much. So, from your perspective, your diagnosis, what is the number one issue that the CLG roster has?
So comparing CLG from then to now it's kind of weird because you see Stixxay performing a lot better. It feels like he's learned the most from MSI and all this, where in the playoffs, it felt like Huhi and Darshan were like carrying really, really hard. But you see in these games, while they're not playing as well as they used to, or maybe other teams got way better, like, it just kind of flipped on its head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it almost seems like, we used to talk so much about how CLG was the macro team in NA, right? That they were the ones who won through the map movement, but here it was C9 beating them around the map. We already saw 2 examples of that, recognizing where the pressure was going to go, matching that pressure, or even exceeding that pressure in terms of their rotations. And so seemed to have CLG's number, and CLG's still at a loss for it.
Yeah, I mean, you saw them kind of give up a free Baron at the end of that game where C9 was just rushing it down, CLG wasn't quite in position, and then they try and contest the Rift Herald, or not the Rift Herald, excuse me, the Elder Dragon, and Darshan ends up dying in that fight, which leads to that long sequence at the end. But it seems like CLG is struggling with these kind of map-focused portions of the game. Maybe they're not used to the new Elder Dragons and all the different kinds of dragons, and it's something that they need to learn to prioritize better because they had been on the old patches.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where they're so behind that they still need to look for picks, but if they don't look for picks, C9's just going to sneak the Baron, push up with Baron, go grab Elder, and then they're going to fight with Elder and Baron. So if you were to choose a fight and skip steps since you're behind on tempo, farm, and priority, it would be very good to choose somewhere near that Baron time to, even if you lose it, you'll have another chance later on.
Yeah, I think one interesting distinction to make is that CLG doesn't necessarily look too far behind once they're in the fights, right? We have 29 minutes into the game. We saw a nice 3-for-3 mid lane fight that kind of transpired between the two teams, showcasing that, CLG, again, as individual players, understand how to play League of Legends and can execute properly in a team fight itself, but it's other areas that they seem to be lacking right now.
Right, Smithy played a lot of these team fights extremely patiently where
This re-engage.
Yeah, he has so many good re-engages where you look like, oh, they're about to win this fight, Stixxay's getting good damage in, and then it just turns back where Stixxay is just barely able to live through like this bait healing with Soraka, and you think, oh, maybe they're not gonna win, but then he finally gets the kill, and it ends up this crazy, was it 2 for 2? Or
3 for 3. 3 for 3.
Aha.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can see that it's not like they're super outclassed. It's just once they fall behind a little bit in the early game, C9 is far enough ahead to win just through that small advantage they already created earlier. It's not like they're constantly outplaying them from there.
Absolutely. That's going to take us to player of the game, going to Meteos this time around, 1-1-16 on that Rek'Sai. I mean, we saw him very early on visiting that mid lane, getting first blood picked up for Jensen. And so Rek'Sai, very comfortable champion for him so far in this split.
I think it came at a very fortunate time. We see Rek'Sai going up the priority list of a lot of people, Kindred, Nidalee down, Rek'Sai up, and that's a Meteos specialty.
I'm glad I retired before I had to face the terror of these Rek'Sai players, because Rek'Sai is everything a top laner can hate.
Well, yeah, particularly if you're sitting on the blue side because of that cheeky tunnel behind the turret. This gets you from the tri-brush every single time. That said, Cloud9 2-0 over CLG, moving to 3-1 on the split so far. Of course, they are going to be going into their match of the week against TSM next week with a little bit of confidence, but they definitely are going to have their work cut out for them when they get to that. That's going to do it for us, though, here on NALCS 2. Of course, we still have action taking place over on NALCS 1. Before we head over there, let's take a look at the updated standings. TSM is still standing tall on top, no longer undefeated in games, but they still stand with that perfect match record following their 2-1 over Immortals earlier today. Envy tied up with TSM for first, though, because they also sit at 4-0, and of course, tied for third, we've got Cloud9 and Immortals. In fifth, it's Apex. Sixth is occupied by Echo Fox currently. Energy and CLG are knotted up in seventh. In ninth, we have Liquid, and in 10th place, Phoenix 1. Now, we're fresh out of games for this weekend, but there's more League of Legends just over the rainbow. On Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST, Primetime League returns, and be sure to keep your streams online following PTL because the North American Challenger Series airs right after that. Then the EULCS is going to hit your screens on Thursday, starting with Roccat versus Origin on EULCS 1, and check out H2K facing off against G2 later in the day on EULCS 2. In North America, we resume LCS action next Friday with 2 back-to-back matches, starting with our match of the week with Cloud9 versus TSM, followed by a head-to-head between Liquid and Phoenix 1. That's a whole lot of information, gentlemen. I hope you got it all.
Need a glass of water? Are you okay?
I know, seriously. I'll take a breather. You talk about the matches that I just teed up. I mean, obviously, C9 TSM is a big one based on the performance out of C9 today.
I'm really curious how that one's going to turn out, because TSM versus Immortals were very, very close today, and that could have went either way. And C9 did very well against Immortals the other week.
Yeah, I think C9's definitely the team to watch for me, just because they seem to be improving more than any other team, and they already have such strong players. You wonder what the ceiling is on this team, whereas Immortals and TSM, they've had a lot more time together. They had a lot of returning players from last season. Most of them, I mean, only one player changed out between those two teams, so they had a lot of synergy heading forward, and it's just wondering, what are people going to look like at the end of the season? I think that's why C9 is so interesting.
More important than anything, what this all means is we just have so much League of Legends to consume. We're all wrapped up over here on NALCS 2, so we're going to go head over to NALCS 1 to join the coverage of Echo Fox versus Liquid, where Liquid currently has a 1-0 lead in the series. We're in Champions Select now. Enjoy.